Back again, this is CJ with the GOAT Sports Talk. This time today talking about an article from Complex.com in which Lavar Ball told his son LiAngelo he won't make it to the NBA. So, I don't know why he would say that. Of course, we always know that, for those that are following, basketball, high school, prep basketball, the Ball family, that pretty much LiAngelo is probably the least talented out of the three. And, really, he was probably going to be the one that would be least likely to make it, but that doesn't mean he won't make it. As far as him saying that in an interview, I think this is the type of stuff that the media is trying to trap him into, because one thing with the media is that you cannot, as much as he's in front of the media and as much as he's talking, he's going to make mistakes. And they're just basically pulling it. I think he's soaking up the fame more than his own sons. I think his son, Lonzo, really just wants to just play ball, and just and then everything else will follow. I think Lavar, he's been pushing this thing so much that it's kind of like, going to get to the point of overkill. Maybe he might fall back if his son gets drafted by the Lakers, which is his ultimate goal. I don't think he really cares too much about where, LaMelo goes, in the time, when it's his time. So, as far as with him telling his son LiAngelo, which is the middle son, that he's not going to make it, it's kind of crazy, So I'm going to just kind of read a little bit of the article, just really a couple of paragraphs. It says here, it's been a whirlwind few months for LaVar Ball and his three sons, LiAngelo, LaMelo, and Lonzo. But as things were just starting to pick up back in February, GQ staff writer Zach Varian stopped by their Chino Hills, California home for a first of many visits as he pieced together a profile on the Ball family. During his first time in the presence of the entire Ball family, LaVar was, LaVar. He was candid and also maybe a little too honest while talking about the idea of all three of his sons playing in the NBA one day. I told my boys that one of them wasn't going to make it, because if you've got three, only one, maybe two make it to the NBA, he confessed. And instead of letting them wonder which son that will be, LaVar admitted that he already told his middle son, LiAngelo, that it will probably be him. Now, the rest of the article kind of just goes into, things he kind of goes back and forth with the wife. The wife is trying to stick up for, all sons, because after that, LaVar says that, his middle son, LiAngelo, more than likely is going to be a model because he's the more handsome of them all. And then the woman, she says, oh no, all my sons are handsome, and, talks about which one's going to be a superstar, and she said, oh, they're all stars. So you know how mothers do. But he was keeping it real. He is the least talented of the three. And I think the main thing with him is that he doesn't really have like a handle on the level of the other two. And, he's not as agile, I guess you could say, as the other two. LaMelo, he kind of has this funny, walking way about him. To be honest, he's going to have to improve that. He's going to have to get some personal trainers who's going to have to help him with learning how to run with his knees up. You know what I'm saying? To maximize his movement, because the way he plays, that can lead to injury, as he gets into the next level, because you just can't be that aloof and moving like that in the next level. You're just gonna get destroyed, by stronger, more talented guys at the next level. Whereas when you look at like Lonzo has pretty good movement. He has very good stride. He's pretty fluid in terms of his movement. He's not like a jump out the gym type athlete, but he can still get up there. He's long. He's 6'6". He has a good handle. He has a good jumper. It doesn't look good, but it goes in. But LiAngelo, he's going to be more of a guy that might be a spot up guy. I can't see too much of what he could do at the next level. It's going to be interesting to see how he develops in UCLA. But really, to be honest, it's like with the way the NBA is, if you're going to a big time school and you're not coming out after the first year, unless you were injured or something like that, you're just not talented enough, more than likely. That's the reason why that whole, coming out from the NBA, going from high school straight to the NBA, if you look at a lot of the guys that were selected, a good proportion of them were successful. A good proportion of them were all-stars. Some of them played 10 plus years in the NBA, and that's really somewhat of a successful draft pick, if you ask me. I mean, if someone comes out of high school, doesn't necessarily have to be Kobe or LeBron or Kevin Garnett. If they can be, Jermaine O'Neal, that's good enough. You get what I'm saying? I mean, so a lot of people look at like you have to be uber successful in order to come out of high school straight to the NBA, but if you got to look at it from the standpoint of, LiAngelo, if he's going to need 2 to 3 years to develop his game, he's probably not an NBA player. And that's just keeping it real. But, really at the end of the day, his son is really young still. I mean, so why not allow your son to develop? Because, you've seen some crazy developments. When you look at some of these guys that have been, that are in the league, some of these guys develop like their senior year, or maybe by the time they got to college, they grew a little bit more. Some people grow like 2-3 inches like their senior year, and then they end up, being, in a different position with their skill set, end up being better than you thought that they were. So I don't think it's good for him to say that to his own son. That's something that you keep to yourself, but you develop your son as much as possible to give him that opportunity to be as great as he could be, in hopes that maybe he might be able to make it to the league. Now, at the end of the day, from what I can recall, I can't recall the last time 3 brothers were in the NBA. I mean, there was many times, any time in the NBA throughout any given year, there was always like 1 or 2 sets of brothers, or even 3, that are in the league. You had like the Pargo brothers. There's another one, I can't forget his name. I can't remember his name, but I know that one of the brothers plays for the Rockets, and he was going back and forth to the D League, and he has his brother that's in the league as well. I forgot the name. Basically, you also got the Morris twins, Marcus and Marquise Morris. So you do got some brothers. You got the Lopez brothers in the league. So it's 2. It's a lot of 2. A lot of these are twins. They tend to be twins. You've had the Horace and Harvey Grant brothers back in the day. You've had cousins, if you want to talk about Damian and Dominique Wilkins. I don't know if they're brothers or cousins. If anybody knows, feel free to put it in the chat. I'm not going to, look it up right now. But I'm just thinking off the top of my dome that there's been brothers, definitely in the NFL as well. I mean, baseball, so you have 2. To get 3, you have to have some kind of that you got to have, that's like almost like a miracle to have 3 sons. In fact, all 3 sons go to the league. You know what I'm saying? So that's really crazy. So I think he's looking at the reality that, if you get 2 out of 3 ain't bad. You know what I'm saying? It's projected that, LaMelo will more than likely be a lottery pick as well when he comes out of college, but right now Lonzo is looking like the number 2 pick, which we'll probably, get into next. So other than that, man, just wanted to address this. Don't think it was a good idea for LeVar Ball to say that his second son, LiAngelo, was not going to make it to the NBA, but hey, it is what it is. Out of the 3, most people that watch his game feel like he's the least likely of the 3 to make it. So it does make sense, but it is what it is. It's, like it says in the article, it's LaVar being LaVar.